Franco, how are you doing today?
Pretty fine, pretty fabulous, James. Today we'll be talking about lining with rotary machines. We get asked questions about this topic a lot, right, James?
All the time.
It's one of our main questions, especially now with the liner, our wand liner. People transitioning from coils, people that can't tattoo and do line work with rotaries. There's so much to talk about with this subject, so hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions today. But I'm going to start with just a little freestyle conversation about the basics of lining with a rotary machine versus a coil. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me all right?
Let's see some comments. Let us know what's going on. First off, you guys, thank you for joining us today.
Yes. Anybody struggling with lining with a rotary out there, this is for you. There's plenty of people out there that can line just fine with the rotary machine. So if you guys want to tune in and listen, cool. I'll teach you guys a little bit more about why you like it or why you don't like it. I think it's important to know everything about rotary machines. And again, as I always say, as a rotary builder, it's my job and my obligation and my duty to teach you guys the basics of tattoo machines. I want you guys to really understand what it is that makes you like or not like a machine. I really want you to understand how the motor works, how the plunger bar works, how the connection from the plunger bar to the cartridge needle, and how the diaphragm of the cartridge plays a part in not delivering enough power. There's so much to know. It's time to talk about it. So there's lots to know. So let's start with the basics. I've coined this term XYZ. Some of you guys have asked me what XYZ. XYZ is like this term where in the CNC world, it's like the axis is like XYZ. They play together. X, Y, and Z could be another term for like the stars align. How many times have you ever said, when the stars align, I'll do this? Or if it's the stars aligned, it means 3 sevens in a row if you're playing, if you're playing the slots in Vegas, right? So it means everything is ideal. And what that means with XYZ and the tattoo machine world is X could be hand speed, Y could be voltage, Z could be how much pressure and the angle of your needle. All those have to work together. If one of them is off, you may or may not like a particular machine, when it might not even be the machine's fault. It might not even be the customer's skin like we thought. It could just be that your XYZ is off. It could mean that you're playing blackjack and you got a 7, a cherry, and another 7. You had 2 sevens, but not 3. So in today's topic, we want to talk about what is the XYZ. How does that relate to lining with a rotary machine? How do you find your specific XYZ? Because this is very important to know. There is no XYZ that works for everyone. And what I mean by that is some people have slow hand speed, so they'll have to adjust the Y and Z. Some people have fast hand speed, so they'll have to adjust the X and the Z, but not the Y. But if you understand what the X, Y, and Z are, if you understand what they do, then you can experiment and you can start changing and trying. Like, okay, if you're doing a big tattoo, you can say, okay, I'm going to experiment with X and Y remaining the same, and I'm going to toggle up and down with Z. So what does that mean? In tattoo language, that means I'm outlining a big sleeve today, and I'm going to keep my voltage at 7, and I'm going to slow my hand speed down a little bit. So voltage remains the same, hand speed slows down, the hand pressure remains the same. So now you got 2 things remaining the same. You're just going to slow your hand speed down. You may say, oh, wait a minute, by doing that, I can actually line better, more consistent. Or you might say, that didn't do it for me. So then what do? Okay, you say, okay, let me do this. Let me not slow my hand speed down. Let me keep that the same. Let me adjust my voltage up. Let me try 8 volts. And let me keep my hand pressure the same. Then you start to do line work. And you see if that works. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. What do you do in that case? Okay, now what you do is you keep your voltage the same, your hand speed the same, and then just try more hand pressure. Sometimes that's done. You just got to put a little bit more elbow grease into it, right? Like, don't be so much afraid, because there's a point where you get the perfect line, right? And sometimes fear will prevent you from getting the perfect line. You're scared to go deep. It's like doing portraits. How many of you out there are afraid to go too dark? I'm afraid to go too dark. So breaking past that fear barrier is real important when you're trying to get line work. We're afraid of blowouts, obviously, especially with the rotary machine. We don't want to do that. But there's a point where you got to realize that the perfect line does exist, and you got to find it. So you got to play with the XYZ as much as you can until you find it. And I always encourage you to do this on many tattoos for many, many hours until you find what works for you. But it's crazy how many people don't know that you can do that. You can play with those three things. And let me run them back to you guys again. The XYZ is your voltage, your hand speed, and your hand pressure. Voltage, what does that mean? Okay, 7 volts. Let me raise it up to 8 volts. What does that mean? That means more RPMs. What else does it mean? It means more torque, more hit. So it's going to hit harder, it's going to spin faster, so there's more dots per inch when you're going to do a line, whether it be cursive or an outline of a dragon. If you're moving 1 square inch at a time, let's call it, you're going 1 inch an hour, right? If that's the movement speed of a tattoo, then you're getting more dots, more penetrations per inch at a higher voltage. That means you can either blow out the lines if it's not done correctly, or you can make the perfect line because now you have enough saturation. So voltage, simple, up or down, more RPM, more torque, right? So you got that you can toy with. You can adjust that. You can go lower. You can go 6. You can go 7.5, 7.6. You can even go into the nuisances of each decimal point if you really are looking for your sweet spot. Guarantee you everyone has a sweet spot. There's no reason why half the world can line with the rotary and the other half can't line with the rotary. There's something going on. There's something missing, right? You got 2 dudes, both do lettering, excellent. This guy does it with the rotary, this guy does it with the coil because he can't do it with the rotary. What's going on? This guy just figured out his XYZ. This guy never even tried it. He just picked up a rotary, probably set it up to a voltage he thought was good, tried to do an outline of a name, didn't work. Didn't work. He didn't know that you can play around with the X, Y, and Z. He didn't know that. So, and this is something that's not talked about a lot. So, don't feel funny if you don't know about this. Don't feel funny if you've never tried it. If you've never heard of this. If you're hearing it for the first time, send us some DMs, Instagram. James, where can they find us at?
They can send us DMs on Instagram at Bishop Rotary. We have our Facebook Bishop family group, as well as our DMs and Facebook Messenger.
We are active on DMs. We're active on Facebook. We're active on emails. Customer service is number one. For you out there that have experienced our customer service, hopefully you love it. We don't play around when it comes to that stuff because I'm a tattoo artist. My business partner, Carlos Torres, is a tattoo artist. We don't play around. We know how you guys are. We're one of you. We know you want your questions answered. So if you don't get your question answered today, send it over. We will get back to you. Hopefully that breaks it down. Let's talk about one more thing. Hand pressure, okay? So you got your XYZ, you got your voltage, you got your hand speed, you got your hand pressure. Hand pressure is a tricky one. I would say if one of them was more important than the other, it's probably hand pressure. What do I mean by that is I can slow my hand down. I can turn my voltage lower, and if I get my hand pressure just perfect, I can lay the perfect line down. With the hand pressure comes breaking through fear. The scary thing is right on the other side of that fine line called fear, they call it blowouts. That's what's scary. Right on that other fine line is a blowout. So it's like you take that fear to that comfort zone where you do the perfect line, but if you go a little bit too deep, if you go a little bit too slow and you have too much ink saturating into the skin, it's gonna be a blowout, and you're gonna probably go back to your coils or whatnot. It's been said by many people, including myself, that if you can line with a rotary, you'll never line with a coil. What do I mean by that? Is, can you do lines with coils? Heck yeah, you can. Am I dogging coils? No way. I'm a rotary guy. There's PC dudes, there's Macintosh, there's Apple. Like, I'm a rotary head. I'm a rotary guy. You can still line perfectly with coils, and if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with it. I think the benefit of lining with a rotary, though, is you have the ability to now use a lighter machine, which we all know is good for longevity for the wrist. So I know a lot of guys that are like, man, it's not so much that I hate coils, Franco. I'm tired of lining all my tattoos with an 8-ounce machine. My wrist is killing me. I wish I can line with the rotary because it's only 2-3 ounces. So there's that benefit. When you lay your lines out perfect with a rotary, it's a consistent line, very consistent. For those that know. Sometimes I remember back when I was doing coils, I would have to kind of go over the skin again here and there because the back off, the give on the coils was maybe a little too much. Maybe there was some flux issues. The power was crappy, something, and it would just be like I would have to go over the lines again. So when you line with a rotary, what's beautiful about that is the way a motor works. They have an RPM. It's built into the motor. For example, we talked about it last week where some of our motors, most of them are 7,900 RPMs. That means it spins around 7,900 times per minute, right? It's programmed. It doesn't sometimes spin at 6,900. It doesn't sometimes spin at 8,900 RPMs at that nominal voltage, at that same voltage. For example, and just to be over detailed, because I really want to make sure you guys grasp what I'm saying, but if you have your machine at 9 volts and it's a 9-volt motor and it's 7,900 RPMs, it doesn't change. It doesn't decide to spin less or more. Unlike some coils where it's like if there's crappy electricity in the building, you're going to have this different type of hit, right? So it's a very consistent hit. The torque, the power in a motor, that's programmed too. So the motor comes with a programmed amount of power, a programmed amount of RPMs. So that's already done for you, right? When you figure out your XYZ, you can count on a consistent rotary machine. You can count on it not changing. That's the beauty of a rotary machine. Let's get into some questions now. I got some answers.
We're having for some reason, the camera's going sideways on us here.
Literally.
Rotate. Let's see, can't rotate while recording.
I can talk like this if I have to. Yep.
So we'll apologize, guys, for the issue here. We're trying to figure this out.
Are they seeing me up like sideways?
It's kind of, yeah. So the camera, they have to turn sideways.
Snaps.
So we're trying.
There's got to be a setting on there, like what's that?
It's playing through all of it right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know how it did that.
Is there an
I'm not.
You know how you can like hit the button to where you can kind of view it this way?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
So if you change your camera, it exit, right?
No, it's not. For some reason, it got set that way. I don't know why it's doing that this time.
Throughout the whole thing?
I think, yeah. It's now showing so the texts are coming this way. It's like
all right.
this.
I apologize, but hey, we're all creative out there, right? So just kind of tilt your head sideways.
Sorry about this, guys. We're trying to figure this out. Bear with us.
A lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today is audible. It's just something you can sort of hear. I'm not going to do too much description with my hands or with the machine, so I apologize for having a sideways video. But again, just close your eyes and just listen to my words. Let's get into some questions, James.
Okay, well, we've got Robbie Coleman. This was actually from Instagram. When lining with a rotary, should I go up in size needle to get a true thickness of the line? I.e., for a standard 9 liner, should I use an 11 with a rotary machine?
Okay, so that's a myth. People think like if they line with a rotary machine, they need like the next size up to get a crisp line. That has nothing to do with that at all, and I'll tell you why. If you have a 9-round needle, right, it's got 9 needles grouped into a certain diameter, okay, right? And it's all about the consistency of the machine and the XYZ. That's what you should master, okay? Once you master that 9-round line will be the same as if it was done on any machine or even a coil. It's just at the end of the day, we're chasing a perfect line. It's kind of like reminds me of that old movie, that surfer movie, Chasing the Perfect Wave. We're all chasing the perfect line. We all know what that perfect line is. It's like, it's like playing basketball and you get that swoosh, that feeling you get when you get that swoosh. It's when we get that perfect line, like it's kind of like this feeling of fuck yeah. Especially some of you all out there that are doing like the sacred geometry, like the whole thing's got to be perfect lines, and we all have dealt with the depressed feeling we get when we have a fucked up line or a rattling line. And let's face it, a lot of our customers will never notice because we can hide it with shading, or they're not as much as a perfectionist as we are. But again, we always aim to be the best we can, never settling for less. Who does that? The people that don't want to win do. That's who. So you always want to strive to be perfect with your lines, no matter what. Every tattoo should be better than the last, unless you've had too much to drink. And in that case, you shouldn't be tattooing. But in general, Robbie Coleman, I hope that answers your question. You don't need to go the next size up. That's putting a Band-Aid on. The real goal is to identify where your X, Y, and Z is off and fix it. So lots of trial and on what that would be for you. Okay, next question.
All right, next question is from Julia Davis Casale. She actually submitted a question, but she's also got a comment here. It just says that she loves Bishop as a company. She's bought all 3 wands. Her favorite is the Packer. Loves the packaging, and we've always answered all of her questions when we've asked. And so she's just Bishop all the way.
Thank you, Julia.
The question that she has is, what is the best way to wrap your Bishop wand with a regular non-disposable grip?
A regular non-disposable grip. Okay, so there's several ways to sterilize. You can do the cold sterilization method, the hot sterilization method. There's plenty of research on how to do that part of it properly, so that's up to you guys to research. But in terms of wrapping it up properly, I would always suggest putting the RCA cord all the way over the motor. I mean, all the way over the machine and all the way over the grip, and then wrapping that grip with the cohesive tape if that's what you're using. And then you just, poke a hole in the bottom to put your needle in. And remember, there's lots of arguments of how to do it properly, what's cross-contamination. At the end of the day, cross-contamination most of the time happens because of bad habits, right? I'm going to give you an example. There's a huge conversation going on in the industry, and it's a good one to have. As far as when you put your needle in the cartridge, is this back portion contaminated? Well, don't fucking contaminate it. We have a choice when we pick up our cartridges. Do we want to grab it from the back with bloody, dirty hands and then plug it into your machine? Or do you want to, be neat about it? And there's plenty of room to grab it towards the bottom and plug it in. So what I'm saying is you don't have to cross-contaminate your equipment. It's a conscious choice, right? So be conscious about it. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just, practice being safe, practice being mindful. I always stress something that people don't talk about enough is pay attention to the back part of your needle. It's sacred territory.
No, I'll come in.
Okay. Is it gonna? Yeah. So look, pay attention. Let me just put when you're tattooing and you're using grips that aren't disposable, pay attention to this back portion. Don't touch it. Stay far away from it. It's a conscious choice, really. You put it over here, you pick it up. There's plenty of room to grab it, and you be safe about it. But that's something that's going to be on you. I can't help you with that if you're dirty. If you're clean, cool. Just be really, really conscious, like I said, about it. Thank you for that question, Julia.
Next question is from our friend Christian Tattoos. How many days does the INK-EEZE spray bandage last on skin? And here is some as we speak.
This is some good stuff, guys. This reminds me of when the 3M skin that everyone's using for tattoo bandages. Tim Hendricks was probably like the main guy that was promoting that like 12 years ago, if I remember correctly. No one even caught on till like 6 years ago or so. But this is kind of like ahead of its time. For those that have tried this, you guys know how good it is. I actually don't recommend it on color tattoos, just because like there's too much blood seeping out. And the way this works best is you spray a puddle on the skin and you paint it like finger painting. You paint it over the tattoo. So you don't want to spray it like spray paint. I'll actually describe it here. Let me. Actually, this is pretty cool. But it falls off in about 3 to 4 days, so I'll describe that. But let's just say that's your tattoo, okay? What you do is you spray a puddle on, and you finger paint over the tattoo. You kind of fan it. You wait like about 20-30 seconds before it dries. What I always suggest is you do 3 layers. You do another layer, same thing, finger paint over the shape of the tattoo, evenly spreading it out. Then you do a 3rd layer. This stuff locks in your tattoo. It's like a biohack. It makes your body think that like the skin's already formed over it, so there's no scabbing that occurs, so it just starts to immediately start to heal the tattoo. This stuff is awesome. Yeah, INK-EEZE, Ink Guard. Try it out. It's really good. Remember, the main thing with that is you have to wipe the tattoo down and wait for it to stop bleeding. Sometimes you can do a little slight alcohol wash and then hit it with the Band-Aid. But it'll last. It stays on the skin. It's sort of designed to come off in about 3 to 4 days. So you don't have to do anything to your tattoo. It also protects it too from germs and bacteria and crap in the air. But 3 to 4 days, then you have your client put like whatever you recommend for them, white lotion, some sort of aftercare. They can put that on for about a week following that. So 3 to 4 days with a Band-Aid, that really gets in there and starts to heal it. On about the 4th day, you start using your favorite aftercare. Your tattoo's gonna heal beautiful.
All right, next question is from our friend Art Guapo Solis. Can you talk about the way that the needle slows down during the bottom part of the cam rotation and how that slowing affects the power of the hit?
Okay, so it shouldn't slow down. So like you got a rotation, right? The rotation rotates at a speed. The speed doesn't change, okay? The speed doesn't change at all. So when it goes down, it comes up just as fast. There are some machines out there, I think like 1 or 2 that I can think of, and I don't even want to say the name because I'm not sure, but they've altered the cam to where it could actually go down faster and come up slower, like a 60-40. 60% is there's a down speed and 40% there's an up speed, or vice versa. But yeah, that's really not an issue or not a problem. It's, again, most rotaries out there, like 97-98% of the rotaries in the market, they all have the same hit. The same amount of time that's going down is the same amount of time that's going up. So, but and that's why it doesn't alter the way it hits the skin as long as it's moving at that same exact speed. So hopefully that answers your question. I think you might have been referring that question to those machines that have that particular cam, and if you do, send us a private message with a little bit more detail, and I can help answer that question.
Okay, Jesus would like to know if you could talk about your point of view on the give, especially with the wand shader. Is there give in that machine?
Yes. So a lot of people ask why doesn't Bishop make machines with adjustable give? Well, that's an easy answer, because it's bullshit. Any machine company out there that makes adjustable give, I'm just going to be honest, it's a gimmick, straight out. I've been building machines for 27 years. I've been building directorized for 27 years. And what I mean by that, just because I like to be authentic with my machine building career, and I spent about 4 or 5 years building rotary machines when I first started, August 27 years ago, and then I took a big 10-11 year break before I started tinkering back again with making machines. So I've had a long history of building machines. I've built every type of machine you can imagine. I've built machines I'll never even release. I build machines just to see if they'll work. I got drive systems that maybe the world will never see. So give is just a gimmick, really, because let me tell you why. Let me make sense of it. Why is it a gimmick? Well, because it doesn't work on all skin types, right? So if you have a machine that has adjustable give, and let's just say you set it to a certain setting, and you're tattooing like this perfect milky white skin, it's just creamy, you know what I'm talking about, butter skin, and you love the way that give is set, and you think that that machine at that particular setting is what you like for black and gray portraits, then someone comes in with like rough skin, maybe he like works outside, does construction, and now you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't work like the other person. And of course you're not a machine builder, so you don't know what's going on. You're like, fuck, is it my machine? What is it, right? Bishop and myself, like, we've always removed any type of gadget. And the reason why is we want your machine to work the same. If your machine works the same, okay, you can tattoo all sorts of types of skins, and you let your hand pressure be the give. You let that be what you master. You master the art of hand pressure. When I get rough skin, I work it a little differently. When I get butter skin, I'm a little bit more delicate with it, right? When I'm doing line work on delicate skin, I gotta finesse it a little bit more with my hand pressure. Remember the XYZ? One of those being hand pressure. That's my give. It's better to master the art of hand pressure. It's better to master the mindfulness of hand pressure. You gotta be sensitive. When you hear about heavy-handed tattoo artists, they're not sensitive. Those are the guys blowing out lines and things like that. Those are the ones that you're like, hey, are you heavy-handed? I don't want to get tattooed by you. So hand pressure is very underrated. Really got to pay attention to your hand pressure. It's so important. It controls a lot of mistakes from being made if you can control it properly. Train it to be sensitive. And if you get used to not using machines with give, you start to like understand that you're actually in control with your hand pressure. And then what happens psychologically is your subconscious starts to pick up on how to behave. Like, you guys ever driven home and you're talking on the phone with someone and it was like an hour drive? Next thing you know, you're in the driveway and you don't even remember driving home. It's because it was on automatic pilot. Your subconscious is what drove you home. You were talking to your mom or your boyfriend or girlfriend. Next thing you know, you came from LA to Orange County and you're now in your driveway. It's automatic. For something to be automatic, it's got to be in your subconscious mind, and that's why I don't believe in give in machines. I believe that if you teach your hand to be in control of the give, your subconscious starts to memorize that type of skin, that type of skin, that type of skin. So when you get rough skin, within seconds of tattooing, your subconscious goes, oh, the machine doesn't change, but your hand pressure needs to change. Imagine the other way around. Imagine having to freaking worry about your hand pressure, your setting on your gimmicky machine with adjustable give. It's like one more thing to think about. I got to now worry about my hand pressure. Now I got to fool my subconscious mind because now it's not just my hand pressure. I got to remember the last setting on my machine with give. Who wants that? Well, just remove that, and now you have more power. You're in more control. Now, to answer your question, that was the long answer, just to really get into what give is as a function. We've done something a little different, and it's, again, one of the reasons why we have 3 different wands. Motors, I don't know if you guys ever played with motors, like just goofing off with them, but you can stop the shaft with your finger. It could be on, and you could pinch the shaft and stop the motor. The more torque, the more power a motor has, the harder it is to stop. When it comes to tattoo machine motors, they're pretty powerful, but remember, they're penetrating skin, which is soft. So it's not like a Tesla motor. It's not like an RC car motor. Those things are, you can't stop the shaft on those things no matter how hard you pinch. My point is that when you pinch a shaft and you stop the motor, there's some sort of torque that's giving away. So you're stopping the power. So in essence, you could say that every motor has a certain amount of give built into the motor, right? Again, let me describe like a spinning motor. The motor, you take the motor out of the machine, it's spinning with the cam on it, and you just stop it. Some are a little bit easier to stop than others. Case in point, the motor that we use for our packer and our liner, it's a powerful brushless motor with a lot more torque than our phantom motor or our shader motor. So you can stop the phantom and shader motor faster. It's got give. It's got built-in give. So that's what we mean by saying our motors have built-in give. It goes back to, you don't need a gadget. You just need to memorize your machine and see how it works. Then you just adjust your hand pressure. And so on the particular note of the shader, it's got a little bit of give in it. So when you're tattooing, it just kind of it's more forgiving. You could do more layers for those of you that like to take your time and build up your layers without damaging the skin. Hopefully that answers your question, and if you guys have any questions about give, send us a message, and we'll answer them.
The next one is from our friend Nato Velasco, is asking, with the packer, is it good for 14-round liners and 11-round shaders?
Yes, definitely. that'll slam it in. If you're familiar with lining with rotaries, definitely. If you're struggling a little bit, you can bump it up to the liner rotary. Again, that's got the 5.0 cam. It delivers. If you guys were listening to the last one we did last week on where we talked about cams and different elements of function regarding the cam and the power, the 5.0 is a beast. It'll slam it in. So if you can't do it with the Packer, you're probably one of those people that generally can't line with a rotary. How many people have we had, James, throughout the last year that swear by the liner? They couldn't line with a rotary.
And then all of a sudden it was that or coil converters. You had a bunch of even
this
some of the
is
old school traditional
the coil
artists.
converter. For those of you that cannot line with the rotary machine. And it's just the way it hits. It hits harder. It's a beast. It's not for the faint of heart. I actually encourage y'all to stay away from this machine unless you absolutely need it. Like, do not buy this liner machine unless you need it. You could probably do most of your stuff with a Packer in terms of lining. But if you're one of those finicky guys that just has to have a line-only machine, then this machine is for you. It's funny because like we have 3 machines, and me as a builder, I deter people away from buying certain ones. Like I'll look at their Instagram and I'll say like, there's no way you would even want a Packer. Like your type of work, just get a shader. And then there's people that I say, you know what? You've been using rotaries for a long time. I see you're diverse. Get a Packer. Guarantee you won't need any other machine. And they do that. And then there's people that want like 3 different style machines. Like I want my liner specific, I want my black and gray, and I want my color Packer. That's fun too. But in terms of lining with a rotary, yeah, there's lots of different elements to go with it.
All right, next up we have our friend Alfred Bastillos. He sees guys like Phlox using the V6. Which wand would you recommend for that kind of work?
Packer.
Absolutely.
So V6 is a great comparison to the Packer. For those of you that like the Phantom, shader. It's the same motor. I like to say the shader is like a refined version of the Packer, of the liner. I'm sorry. 3 machines gets confusing sometimes. A Phantom machine is very equal to a shader wand, a little bit more precise, a little bit less side-to-side movement. Yeah.
Okay. Emily Eve is asking.
One more. Because I heard people thinking this. What if I have a Microangelo? What if I have a Magi? What kind of wand would be an easy transition?
Bam.
I'd say Packer. I'd say the Packer too.
Okay, we have Emily Eve. So, as a starter rotary machine, would you recommend the wand or a traditional V6 for somebody that's coming over either coils? What would you recommend as a entry?
If you're there's 2 answers to that. Some people are like, hey, I don't want to go from a heavy machine to a light machine because I'm used to that back weight. A lot of times people use that back weight as like a pendulum. They use it to help guide those lines, right? So if you want like the same sort of weight and feel, I mean, obviously the V6 is still going to be lighter than a coil because it's made out of aluminum and it's smaller. I think our V6 is around 4 ounces, whereas typically a coil is like 7 to 9 ounces. So you're already in a better position, but it still has that back weight, still has sort of that shape. So if you're looking for that, I would do the V6. If you really want a light machine and you've tinkered around with some of your friends' machines, I would say maybe a Phantom or a Packer wand. If you feel confident about pen machines, because a lot of people like can adapt to pen machines quickly. I mean, we've seen like Freddie Negretti, like one of my idols and legends in the game. Like he went from coils straight to pretty much a wand. So it's really hard to answer that question because everyone's got a different sort of like desire in terms of what they like to feel. But I would just experiment. Always try to borrow one of your friends' machines in your studio if you can before making a purchase. Or you can always send us a DM and we'll help you decide too. We do that all the time. So plenty of people send us messages and ask us what type of machine we should get. So if you're in the market to buy one and you're just not sure, hit us up. We'll help guide you.
All right, this is with the Microangelo. Our friend Silo Lalakar is asking, can the Microangelo be used with most grommets, or should it be used with the smaller Microangelo grommets?
So if you got the Microangelo, it comes with a specific type of grommet that is designed to lock onto your eye loop. So just stick with those ones. We sell them on the website. They're not much at all. So for that reason, stick to those ones. It's made for it, and it's actually designed to just be more streamlined. Yeah. So
are there going? Oh, our friend Eddie here, Eddie Giordano, is asking, are there going to be 2-inch aluminum grips available for the wand?
I should have brought them over. Yeah, Caesar has them.
Oh.
Yeah, we have them right now. We're just. When's the packaging coming, James?
I think
James,
we've already been approved, and it should be in full production moving forward. But I think
so. The grips are in. The grips are in. Packaging should be in hopefully in a week or two. And we actually have 2-inch, and we have 1.75-inch, and then we have the 1.25, the 1-inch, and the 3/4. So we got options for days.
All right, our friend Derek Fitch is asking, when will the ARMA grips be available?
You mean this thing right here?
What is that you have in your hands?
Bring the camera over here, James. Why don't you? All right. Check this out, everybody. This right here is our ARMA. Look, I know we're late to the game with our adjustable grip. We released one a couple years ago. Got stuck building machines. We're not a big company, you know what I mean? So it's we really want to focus on, mastering our machine process, and then accessories, of course. We love accessories. So this one, I think this one might be one of the best in the game right now. And I know I'm saying a lot, but hey, if you don't agree, you let us know. If you do agree, let us know. What's different about this? Well, we got the stainless steel back stem. You got some grooves in there to kind of help you keep it in place. It's got the click grip system, so it rides on a ball bearing. A little bit more accurate than some of the ones that are out that have a plastic. There's like a little plastic thing in there that a lot of times breaks. So if you want to hear this really quick, this just sounds good. Feels really good. It's in terms of like the feeling of it, it's really ergodynamic. But let's hear the. Look at that. All right. So this is the ARMA adjustable tube. Will be available. We're waiting on packaging. We have all of these in stock right now with no packaging. But when is that coming, James?
I hope soon enough, man. Got our friends there. Oh no.
Let's talk to James here for a minute. James.
Hello, everybody.
Graphic design. Product.
How you guys doing out there? Thank you,
James,
guys
can you first describe what's going on with your hair?
We did not wear a hat today.
Okay.
We kind of forgot about it. We're feeling like a little.
Run your hands through your hair for us, James. I mean, you're gonna come to the table with hair like that. You better run your hands. Okay, now that we've had our Paul Mitchell commercial.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
James also does packaging for us.
Yes, we do.
And he's designed some beautiful packaging. Do we have any of the packaging?
We have. Well, we got some of the. No, we don't have the ARMA grip pack. Oh, yes, we do actually. As a matter of fact.
Go get it.
And
what's up, Casey?
Oh, guys, this is our new friend, Casey. Hello,
what's up, Casey?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Casey is one of our new graphic designers. He's a beast. He grew up with no Nintendo. That means he plays no games.
Not at all.
Definitely good to have him join us here on the team.
Very talented young man.
Absolutely.
So if you see some cool graphic design, James now has a helper. So.
While we're not just James Worldwide, we're just James Lake Forest right now. So all is well with the cosmos. But we do have the packaging here for the aluminum adjustable grip. And this one's got a little bit of weight to it, which means, what are we doing with that?
Are we going to talk about this?
I don't know. Here,
camera's
pass the mic.
So let's do the first ever unveiling of the
drums.
For those of you that know, we love and take our packaging seriously. We'd like to think we're one of the first in the industry to get crazy as fuck with our packaging. Since then, I think every box people copy us now. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, often imitated.
But we keep on upping the game. Wait till you see some of our new packaging. So this is what it is. Simple, sleek. Okay, ARMA adjustable. And we open it up. And what do we see? What is this? So a lot of you have asked, do you guys make your grips in stainless steel? And for many years we said, no, we do not. But however, when you ask us this question today, we will say, yes, we do. And here's what it looks like. It's pretty heavy. This is a beautiful way to end today's conversation. Hand pressure can be achieved by having a heavier grip sometimes. There's people out there that demand, they're begging us for a stainless steel grip, because another reason why coil machines line better for some people that can't figure it out with the rotary, it's actually because the machine's heavier, believe it or not. I use this example of the needle. The needle wants to jump off the skin. When it hits the skin, it wants to jump off the skin actually. The more needles you have especially. So if you have a single needle, it's less likely to jump off the skin versus like a 9 round. So the more needles you have, the more pressure you have to put down to sink that needle in the skin. It's like laying on a bed of nails. It's not going to penetrate your skin, but if you lay on one nail, it's going to go all the way through. So remember that, because it's physics at this point. It's not theory, it's physics. And so when you have a heavy machine, it's like that needle can't necessarily jump off your skin. So when it goes in, it goes in. And a case in point, if you've ever had a badass coil machine that you use for lining, feel the give on it. There's always like a good amount of give. And a lot of people have said, like, this doesn't make sense. Like, your V6 has virtually no give. And then my coil has like a ton of give, but it lines better. It's because it's an 8-ounce machine. So that's really the science behind it. That's often overlooked, is the weight of the machine. Now you say that's weird because I thought we were going for light machines. So let me really back up and explain to you what that means. Is different strokes for different folks. Why are there so many options? Because there's so many styles of tattooing. So everything I'm saying really right now belongs to those that prefer a heavy grip. And listen to this. A lot of the wrist pain comes from the heavy back weight, because your wrist is strained from having to constantly go like this. It's like lifting weights. You know, you're doing this for 8 hours, you might as well be curling a barbell. So you can have an 8-ounce setup or a 7-ounce setup, because, you know, 5 of the ounces are coming from this grip. But the fact is that you're holding it downwards, so there's no back weight. So in reality, you're sort of just holding and guiding this heavier machine, taking most of the strain off of your wrist. So again, you can have an 8-ounce setup, most of it being the grip, and have an 8-ounce coil. The 8-ounce coil is going to work your wrist. The 8-ounce setup isn't going to work your wrist. So we have this available in stainless steel, 1 inch, 1.25 inch. This thing is heavy.
That's a weight.
So stay tuned for this. Our packaging arrives, hopefully next week or the week after, and we will launch these things. And as always, guys, hold on.
Turn off the lights.
As always, as I was about to say, create magic, and then someone turns my light off. As always, create magic, because we are creators, especially artists. So that's our slogan, and I hope you like it. Because we love what we do, right? It's magical to tattoo.
There we go.
As always, this is impromptu. We don't write anything down. We freestyle and go with the flow, which often means sideways conversations and lights that go down. So stay tuned for some new products. Hopefully, let's grab a couple questions.
Before we close out, you know, you're talking about the ARMA grips. We got Angel Ramos asking, is that autoclavable?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. People are already digging about the Beto Salgado's really needing a good stainless steel cartridge grip. So be on the lookout, my friend. You guys, thank you again for tuning in. We promise next week we will be having it upright and ready to go.
Yes, I apologize for your neck.
It was, yep, we do apologize for that. But thank you again, Franco, for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys again for tuning in. It's our goal to educate you. That's the whole purpose of doing these lives, to educate you, to make you the master, to make you the machine builder, to make you understand why you love the equipment you do, why you choose or want something else that might do the job. So we're going to just continue to, divulge as much education as we can to those that seek. And as long as Bishop is here for you guys, we're going to keep giving you the information you need to succeed. So remember, send all your questions through DM, Instagram, Facebook. Those of you who have joined our Facebook private page, we get down. We talk about a lot of cool stuff over there.
But also, don't be scared to ask these questions during these live Q&As. We like to address the people who are actually watching us and keeping everybody engaged and excited with a little bit of education. So,
yes.
Thank you again, Franco, for joining us. Thank you all for tuning in here. Look forward to seeing you guys possibly next Friday for the next Fridays with Franco. And until then, may you all have a beautiful weekend. And remember, if nobody loves you,
listen to him.
Bishop and Chuco always got you. And we out.